Is there going to be enough? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not enough. It's going to be touch and go. Good morning, good morning. Who have we got here today? Cloudy Florida, raining, raining, raining. It's okay here. It was raining earlier. It was raining during the night, I think. It's okay now. Again, sizing. This wasn't planned. I was supposed to be printing this morning, but the blocks have arrived. The blocks for DF6 have arrived. I think they arrived over the week. They arrived over the weekend. I'm not sure what day. This is the June print, and which means that I need now to make paper for it. So it's 200 sheets of paper ready for Chiharu-san. Have you seen the image? I don't remember. Have you seen the image at all? Did we see any color separations on this going on? I just don't remember what I've showed you and what I haven't showed you. It's a forest scene. It's called Spirit of the Forest. We have a tanuki of sorts, and we have a little a spirit, the hologram. Anyway, the blocks are now ready. This came back from Kawasaki-san, our carver in Kobe. Her next job will be the August print. No gradations on this one, I think, but a lot of overlays. So the sizing has to be firm. The sizing has to be good and strong. There's places in there where the color is overlaid. Almost every block in the set is overlaid in the same place sometimes. It's a deep, deep forest scene. The middle area is glowing with light, but all around it it's dark forest, which means overlay green and blue and gray and whatever. Do I watch sumo? Yeah, today. It started yesterday, I believe. We were in Ryogoku yesterday morning, and things were happening. Things were bubbling and cooking. The current tournament started yesterday, but no, it's not on my. It's not on my radar. I'm sorry. It's so busy here right now. I can't even think. There's stuff. I've got a list of notes, like in case there's not enough work to do here today. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things that I could bring to you and chat with you about. We have a show and tell. Almost certainly we're not going to get to it. I'm sorry. Sizing is the priority here. And it's the same type of paper you've seen. The recent sizing jobs have all been exactly the same. This is the new Murata paper. I've chopped a bunch of it in half, and we will be sizing this today, and it's for that print, the one you just saw, the tanuki in the forest. There are 25 sheets chopped in half, making 50 sheets, enough to make 200 prints. Paper is out. It's out right behind. This fridge is here. The paper's in the room over there. Ishikawa-san is coming today. She's printing a back number from the Scenes of Nature series, The Wild Boars. Speaking of doing sizing on 200 sheets of paper, I have a video. I know over the weekend the prints arrived for Dreams of Future Past, the first 200 copies for the May print. You know, remember we used to open packages from Kubota-san and show you glorious 200 prints and stuff. I have a video for you today opening the 200 prints. It's of course not Kuboda-san, it's from Chiharu-san. Let me get started. Let's get started on this first, and then remind me, and I'll show you the opening. What happens to old woodblocks once we've printed from them? They indeed go into storage. They're never finished, remember. We are not making limited editions. The woodblocks you just saw, we're going to print about 350 to 400 copies currently this next few weeks. The blocks then go into storage for a while, and they will be used again next year. And then ongoing. Okay, let's roll. I hear footsteps. Oh, it's Ishikawa-san. Hi. They're just reminding me. Dave, did you take the paper out? They're reminding me. 取ったよ。紙出しました。Don't duck. Say hello. Come on, be polite. Be polite. Say hello. Say hello. You can't do that. This is printer Ishikawa-san. You've seen her sometimes printing behind me in the other room. ね、今日イノシシのもの出しましたね。それから板もちろん届きました。5月のいや見本が机に上にありますから。そう。で今の動作は6月のものです。そうですね。はい。じゃあイノシシは先ですか？いやいや、あっちやるよ。今日プレスかな。そうか、じゃあ私が出した紙はイノシシの紙とどっちか。途中からあっち。あ、じゃあまだ示したもう。あ、そうか。じゃあそのもの出した方がよかった。うん、違う、あっちでいい。OK、OK。A couple of things about the sizing today. This paper from Murata-san now, this is from her second lot. Remember, we sent her 10 kilograms of fiber. She made a bunch of paper for us. We used that for January, February, March, and into the April print. We later sent her 20 kilograms of fiber. You saw me mess around here, putting it in boxes and stuff like that. The paper we're seeing now is made from her second batch for us. This paper comes from that 20 kilograms of fiber that we sent her. Now, a couple of things have changed. She has boiled it in the alkali, as always, but she's boiled it for a little bit longer this time. Because the first batch, we found that there were places where the fibers were clumped together. This time round, she boiled it a bit longer to sort of alleviate that problem, make sure the fiber wasn't clumping quite so much. So that's one thing that's different on this paper, presumably less clumping. Second thing that's different is that the front surface of this group of paper is much smoother than the last one. Her drying boards now, after coming back to life after 8 years of not being used, are now beautifully nice and smooth. She and I did wash them and clean them, but now that they've been used a couple more times, they are now getting nice and smooth. And the other thing is, she's made this paper, and I'm not quite sure why, she's made it slightly thicker than the first batch. Or what it is actually is there's less inconsistency. The first batch I showed you, she split them up into groups. She measured every sheet. These were 20.2. This was 0.2 millimeters. The next group was 0.22 millimeters, then 0.24 millimeters. She had asked us, what do you think? What kind of consistency do you like? And I'd given her the 0.22 as the target to shoot for. So this group of paper, in general, is a little tiny bit thicker than the previous batch. This is not a problem. This is fine. This is a feature, not a bug. What we want is consistency rather than an actual number itself. We want them all to be the same. But having said that, for prints that we're making this year with lots of color layering, this Spirit Forest has 5 or 6 places where they're laid over top. A thicker paper is going to be better for that. But I've also got to make sure I get the sizing right. If the sizing is too weak and we're printing 5 times, 石川さん出しますよ。ちょっと待って。はいはいはい、ちょっと待ってください。
ゆっくりどうぞ。
はい。ケーブル出しますね。はいはい、ごめん。
ごめんね、邪魔して。
はいはいはいはい。
どれだ。はい。ありがとう。
Thank you.
はい。
Same size, same dimensions. Of course, we're talking the same dimensions. Nothing has changed here. But the paper's a tad thicker, and I've got to make sure I get a good tappuri. I've got to get a good float of this liquid. And if I don't, then we will start to get pilling. The fibers of the paper will pull up while the printer is working. So the speed here, if I go too quickly, boom, that's not a good thing. Is the camera higher or the board different? I don't know what I've done different here. The board and the bench and me haven't grown or changed. The camera could be higher. Is it wrong? Should I lower it? I think we're okay. Maybe the camera's higher, looking down a bit more. I don't know. Someone's talking about that expression I just used, as in feature, not a bug. And you've mentioned that it's a phrase used in gaming. I'm a bit surprised to read that. To me, that's a phrase used in the world of software. So, somebody's mentioned this. To me, that's a software phrase to me, not a I mean, the very use of the word bug, of course, this implies software development, I think, you know. But it goes so easily, this paper, so smoothly and easily. You've heard it in the context of political corruption? What? 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 Can you explain? I don't get that. Have I been overusing it? I'm sorry, my apologies. It really is handy, you know. Has it become that much of a cliche? David's overusing it now. Sorry. No, I know it's not about me, but the point being, if it's become a cliched thing, I should maybe dial back. I don't know. I can maybe tip my hand. When I was in Ome last week, I was in my room upstairs there. It was Wednesday evening, and I needed a book because I knew I was going to be streaming the next morning. I was in Ome Wednesday afternoon, getting ready to sleep in my room there, my dirty tatami room in the Ome house. And I thought, oh, Dave, quick, before you go to bed, you got to choose something for tomorrow's stream, the book corner in tomorrow's stream. So I was just sitting there. You know, the bookshelves in that room are quite high. They're sort of wall to ceiling. So I'm going along the bookshelves like this. I can't see this and pull out a book and look at it and trying to figure out what book to use for the book corner. As it turned out, you know, I ended up using that book about the Hasui prints. But one of the other books I pulled out and put on the desk for consideration was a book that's in some way related to the thing we were just talking about, the bug, not a feature. I don't think the phrase is in that book, I don't know. But it was a book about that kind of a topic. And actually, although I chose the Hasui print collection book to show, I left the other book on my desk out there. It's possible that next time I'm in Ome, the book corner might be a book by a gentleman called Mr. Brooks. Another book that was very, 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 very influential to younger Dave. Coding for Dummies. No. Did I learn to code from books? Well, books and magazines, same as most people. We're talking back in the 1970s. Byte magazine and those kind of things. And Creative Computing magazine. Those were my Bibles back in the early days. Is Mr. Brooks' first name Mel? No, I believe it's, don't quote me, I think it's Fred. And those of you who know anything about software now know the book that I'm talking about. We were talking about bugs and features, and a book related to software by Mr. Brooks. Hugely influential book, not just me. Byte started in 75. I had a collection, like it would have been the first, I don't know what years. I would have had like a complete collection of Byte magazine from the first 7 or 8 years. I forget. All that stuff. I had huge stacks and stacks of magazines. I don't even remember the names of most of them. They all got turfed. Yeah, Tom 6. Vivid KP's got it. So. I'm not promising that will be the book, just anyway, that was one that was under consideration. There's a couple of books I left on the desk. Someone says, mandatory reading for your college computer science course. I get that, but I also don't get it. I can see why professors and stuff would want people to read this, because the information in there is gold. But, having said that, in my mind, it's kind of the same as Hiroshi Yoshida's book on Japanese printmaking. It's like saying if you want to start learning printmaking in this field, you should grab Hiroshi Yoshida's book and read it cover to cover, because it has everything. There's nothing you need to know that's not in that book. Is kind of an analogy here. But the problem is, If you read it, just read it, without too much experience, you will get some things, and most of it you will read the words, yeah, I read that, I get it, I read that, I get it, but you won't get it at all, because you haven't got the experience to understand what the guy is trying to tell you. And then you come back a couple of years later, you read it again, and it'll be, oh yeah, okay, now I get what he's getting at. But still, a lot of it, you think you get it, but you won't, because you don't have enough experience. So giving Brooks's book to somebody in a computer science course, whatever, it's not going to hurt them, go ahead, but they will not get it. I'm sorry, I'm being a bit patronizing by saying this. This is the old guy talking. You won't get it. It's not until you have been in that war and done that battle and lost a bunch of those battles, then you really start to get it. Now I see what he's talking about, because you've patched your own bandages. Then it starts to make sense, and then you will really grok those lessons and hopefully bring it into your work. So it maybe what I'm saying is a bit patronizing, and maybe it's the same thing about anything in the world. Reading what some dude talks about and experiencing it yourself. The other thing too, the thing about his book, the Mythical Man Month is one big deal, but that's not the main lesson I got from his book. Remember, I'm a solo guy. I work by myself. I don't work in teams. So the Man Month has no relevance to what I'm doing. The thing that I really picked up from his book is something he tagged as the second system effect. And this is something that all of us, not just programmers. This is why I didn't read it. Well, is that an excuse for not reading it? Dave says, don't bother reading any books, because it doesn't matter what other people say. You have to experience this for yourself. So throw away your library. Is that what I just said? I don't know. I don't know. It's a balance, I guess. What can I say? You know, don't bother reading anything anymore. You've got to experience it for yourself. But to me, the second system effect, absolutely. I lived this myself. I've been through that war, and oh my God, it is so true. Absolutely so true. But I'm lucky now, well, not lucky, I mean, it's a question of experience. Because I have gone through that personally and bitterly and vividly, I will never forget that lesson of the second system effect. And now the systems that I build, the things I work with here, it's a vivid memory for me of how the second system effect works. And I think as long as I can keep that alive in my mind, I will never fall into that again. I don't mean I will ever be making second systems badly again. I mean the lessons of the second system problem. It's applicable to everything. If I'm trying to figure out maybe a better way to do DOSA or something, it's going to be applicable right here on this desk. Well, someone says, build one to throw one away. No, I think that's a bit of a different thing. There's an overlap here because we're talking about iterating. But build one to throw one away is not the same thing as what we're talking about here. To sort of paraphrase it, my own personal experience, the first major computer system I built, I was terrified. I knew I was getting in deep. I knew I didn't have too much experience. I set parameters. I said, we will build a system to do this. We defined very clearly what it was going to do. I studied like crazy to learn about all the different parts of it. And that first system, although not perfect, was explosively wonderful. It transformed our business. It did its job well. It almost literally saved the business that I was working for. It just checked off all the boxes. And the problem then came that I then became the person, I know how to do this. Because of the success of that first system, I became in my own mind, I got this. I got this. And of course, what I had got really was a subset. And the system that I had built, as I mentioned, within parameters, was a glorious, stable, good, interesting, wonderful, well-working system. And then you know the rest of the story. They commissioned me to do something else, but because I've got this, it was chaos, absolute chaos. It never went into service. So I lived that book. I absolutely lived that book. Okay, how are we doing? The clock is still stopped there. It's 8:25. I just passed the halfway point. We're looking good. So tell you what, let me get a bit more of this done. Let me play a bit of video. It's just a 2 or 3 minute video that I recorded yesterday afternoon in the shop. And it was funny to do that. I tried to time it just right. I recorded it at my carving desk down in the shop yesterday afternoon. And we were busy. There's people in, people out. Hi, Dave, how you doing? People buying prints, this and that, this and that, this and that. And I waited till a point where the customer said it was a quiet gap between people. I thought, here's my chance. The shop has gone quiet. Let's do this thing. I went over to my carving bench, got the package ready, got the camera ready, told the staff, I'm going to do a little bit of video here. Just hang on a minute. Everybody's cool, cool, cool. Let's play this thing. Let's play this. And then no sooner had I pressed the button to start recording, let's put my mug out of the way here. Okay, this is yesterday afternoon. Come on, play. Touch screens. Just started up. So this is the May print. Space Ama. There's, I think, 197 copies. I gave her 200 sheets of paper. And I got back 197. This is from Kawai Shihadu. She lives up in Nagano. Solo printer trained by Kubota-san. How can you tell? Then the staff in the shop forgot that I was recording. There we are, recorded yesterday afternoon in the shop. The audio, I was just doing the audio now, holding my microphone next to the camera here. So. I tried to get it all quieted just as I opened the damn package, you heard. Ninja, ninja, ninja. She can do it. She can do it. You know, this is Kawaii Chihadu. She lives in Nagano with her young son. I think he's coming into middle school now, maybe, or at the end of elementary school. She lives up there in a small village out in Nagano. We send her the blocks and paper and a sample, and back comes this beautiful, beautiful stack of prints. For her, it's a dream job. She works at home, no commuting, no nothing. She's got people that care for her work. We pay well. We don't bug her about timetables. She gets some choice in her work, not always. She didn't choose to do that one. I sent it to her. But I talk to her now and then about what kind of work she would like us to be sending her and what kind of schedule it would be and things like this. So she has a fair amount of control over her job. She's set up a beautiful little workspace in her home there. And really, it's actually a dream job, you know. She did all the embossing. She embosses the title and she puts her name on. Someone says, was that 200? It was 197 sheets. She spoiled 3 of them. Magnificent work. Absolutely magnificent work. And someone says, where do you sign up for that job? Well, we desperately need people who can do that. The problem is her skill set that she produced those prints with, her skill set developed over very many years. But if you want to do that, yeah, you go ahead. Go to our website, download one of the books about how to make woodblock prints, and start practicing. Because I can't teach you to do that. It's got to come from internal motivation. You really want to have to learn this. You want to have to do it. You want to have to drink it. If you do want to do that seriously and you try making some prints, then after you've made a few, and if it looks like you're going to be competent at it, we would then help, advise, give work, whatever. But at the beginning, it's up to you. Someone says, where do we get the prints from? Those prints are all sold. The prints that I just showed you, they are already sold. The prints that will be made from the paper I am sizing now, they are already sold. I'm sorry. This is not a shopping channel. You can't click here to order those prints. Come next December, get in line for our subscription series for 2026. Ha, ha, ha. So I'm sorry, the prints are not available. They're part of our dreams of future. Well, somebody's got it. Somebody. Thank you for the link. Thank you. I'm waking up now. I was a bit tired this morning, you know. I was a bit tired and run down this morning. Wasn't feeling so good. But I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. This is glue we are rubbing on the paper. This is a step that's necessary before we start printing. In fact, the prints you just saw in that little video clip, you've seen every one of those sheets of paper you have already seen. They were just right here on this desk about 4 weeks ago. I sized a batch of paper the same way. I sent the finished sheets out to Chiharu-san, and she got busy with the blocks that you just saw earlier in the stream today. I showed you a set of blocks, and this is how it works. So you will see a month or so from now, I will show you again another package from Chiharu-san. And it will be an image of a tanuki in the forest, a dark forest, with a glowing hologram of a spirit. And that's going to appear on these sheets of paper. That's how we work here. There's no way that we can show the whole process in one stream. It just doesn't work like that. This is an industrial process. The paper is being prepped, it'll be moistened at the same time somebody's carving blocks, somebody's getting some printing ready, Murata-san is making the next batch of paper. There was one idea, don't quote me on this, but there's an idea. Murata-san's workshop there, you've seen it, has lots of room. She stands at one side rocking paper. There's lots of room there. They've got a good internet connection there. Do you remember years ago when I made a woodblock print start to finish on stream? The young woman in the bath, you know, the onsen, the hot spring picture. I did it in not one take. Well, yeah, it was one take, whatever, one Twitch stream, a few hours, start to finish. There's the image. I took some wood and chopped it up, got it ready, and then I had some paper ready, printed it. So we had start to finish, a woodblock print start to finish. The idea is here, in here. Don't quote me. To do it again, something like that, but not here. Take my cameras up to Echizen. Do it in one corner of Murata-san's big workshop. And you can see where we're going with this. As I'm starting carving, she's over at her tub, swirling the mulberry fiber, and she starts dipping and rocking and dipping and rocking. And over the course of the first couple of hours, while I'm carving, whatever, she dips maybe a few dozen sheets here, pulls them out, puts them in the little press to drain the water, then quickly runs them over to the boards there, puts them in the drying boards, puts them outside in the sunshine. Davey's getting closer and closer and closer. The paper is drying out there. The problem is, it doesn't leave time for sizing. You know what I'm getting at? Make a whole print, start to finish, on paper that she made in the background of the video stream while I was doing this. The catch is sizing. We have to size the fresh paper, hang it up, dry it, then moisten it, and then start printing. And that previous stream I did was only possible because I had prepared the paper the night before. I had moistened the paper the night before. But just, oh my God, that would be just so epic. The definition of the word epic. She's in the background rocking paper. I mean, there's no reason to do this because all of our jobs simply take time. There's no problem. But wouldn't that be fun? Two sheets. Are there any cases where a woodblock is a cylinder to make a repeating background? Well, in the modern world, no. But in the older times, yes. In Britain and in France, old wallpaper, we're talking about the Victorian era and before, a lot of the wallpaper back then was printed from woodblocks. And it wasn't so much done the way we do it, by carving a woodblock and rubbing it on paper. They did it on fabric, and they used the fabric stretched out, and they pressed the wood blocks onto the fabric. A bunch of different ways to do it. And I have seen somewhere in a video, somewhere on YouTube, somebody had in a museum some old cylindrical wood blocks that must have been used in the same way. That sheet of, a bolt of fabric was laid on a table, a long, long table, and this wood block would have been inked and rolled down the fabric to make the wallpaper pattern. I say fabric, paper or fabric, I don't know, whatever. Okay, we're halfway. We're halfway. It's flip time. How's our time? 8:40. Oh, somebody's been talking too much. Here we go. Ready. Over we go. Today was not the day when we drop it. Oops. That's when I'll probably drop it, when I've lost my attention. That's what will happen. Here we go, the same 50 sheets. We're now on the back side. And I put too much liquid on that one already. Asakusa, Tokyo. No, I think it just... Here, is this the one you mean? Bingo, sorry about that. No, just in the back and forth with Ome Asakusa, Ome Asakusa. I keep forgetting to do it there. If you want to remind me, we're there. Thank you. One of the reasons why I was a bit down this morning, not really genki for getting the stream starting here, you know. There's an issue happening with our website and hosting and all this sort of stuff. The company I've been using for web hosting since 1998, I would have been one of their first customers. Pair Networks, they're in Pittsburgh, or some of their facilities are in Pittsburgh. The company I've been using, they seem to be going downhill. We now have endless problems. Over the weekend, the database servers went down, and in our shop, the cash register stayed active because we're using local software for that. But the connection between our cash register and the website went down. I sent messages to their urgent support, no reply, no reply. The database server stayed down. About 6 hours later, they came back up. I had to recreate all the transactions that had been lost in the intermeeting time. And they sent me a little email this morning that says, oh yeah, we had issues last night. Sorry about that. Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks very much. And how about the hours of extra work I'm putting in? So I'm a little bit torn what to do. We're on a shared host over there. They also offer private servers, virtual private servers, where virtually at least you're on a machine all by yourself. You're not sharing the server software with anybody else. And I'm tempted to move to that situation thinking that it will give me more control over the environment. Because what happens, they keep updating the software. They updated MySQL software and they updated PHP again, and it broke some of our stuff. So the plan won't matter if the support isn't good. The support actually has been okay. They do respond, not always instantly, but they respond. Human beings respond, and they do sort of take care of stuff. The problem is I get the feeling in the mood that the company as a whole is just going down, down, down. It used to be excellent. Everything used to be snappy and smart, and it worked, and stuff never went down. So you can get one as low as $4 a month. I'm not looking for a cheap, dirty web host. I'm looking for a rock solid, expensive, I don't care. I'm looking for a top quality, rock solid, never down, well backed up, good serviced place to host our data. And no, people say, should we bring it in an in-house server? I do not want to do it in-house. The security questions. You have to be a security expert these days to run a server, and I am not. I don't want to mess with that stuff. I can see from our logbooks, of course, over many years, that there's endless attempts to hack and infiltrate and to get into servers. I do not want to start working on that side of it. I'm not going in-house, relax. I got not enough years left in my life to do that. And again, bare metal hosting, I can choose all the software then, but I'm not so sure about the security aspect of that. I don't want to monitor this thing 24 hours a day, fighting against intrusions, you know. So I do want a good, solid hosting company that has professionals to do that. SEO value, we're not talking about anything to do with SEO. We don't do SEO. I'm simply talking about the place my files are hosted. SEO is a totally different question, and I don't do that. We don't do that at all. Our whole business runs organically. We try and make nice stuff. People pick it up and people tell their friends and whatever. So that's a different question to what I'm asking. We've had attacks over the years, yes, and I have to be honest about this. That last big attack we had, it was around my birthday a year and a half ago. It was my fault. I had left vulnerabilities on our site. It was my fault completely, and the web hosting company was pissed off at me, and justifiably so. In an old unexplored corner of our site, I had left a vulnerability open, and we paid for it. And other people paid for it too, whatever. I learned a lot from that one. So, yeah, all we're talking about here is a solid, stable place to run what they call a LAMP stack. We don't have very specific requirements at all. We have very simple, straight ahead, and we're not even that much of a high volume place. We just need a solid LAMP stack. Yeah, I have been the bug instead of the feature. Absolutely. It's a learning process, you know. I don't want to explain what I actually did because I don't. One, it's embarrassing, and two, people will start to explore vulnerabilities on our website. But no, it's okay. We don't need to go into the details. I was 100% wrong. Haven't heard LAMP. Don't they use that expression these days? Am I old-fashioned there? I thought it was a very core standard internet technology. Or maybe that's just an indication of how old I am, you know. LAMP is legacy, really? Really? Well, I guess they all have alternatives. My point is stability, understandability, so that when somebody else comes in to try and figure out how our system works, they can understand it. I want ubiquitous, boring, easily understandable technologies. Is that legacy now? We should be using Rust or something? I'm sorry, I don't know. There's no way I'm going to try and go cutting edge. Absolutely. We have our own CMS for some of our website, yes. The Astoria Week website, places like that, that all runs on my in-house CMS. Used to run on, what was it called? Movable type. I started when the blogs on our website and Astoria Week used to run on what was called movable type. But now it's not. What's left of our blogs and part of our in-house communication systems and the Astoria Week, it runs now on our own CMS. Yeah, is lamp now, is it the new COBOL? Is that the situation that I'm in? Really? I was worried if there would be enough liquid here. There is going to be enough, but it really is going to be a little bit on the edge here. By the time we get to the bottom of the stack, I think I'm going to have to tip it up. Looking good, looking good. Is the chat too nerdy? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What else was on my list? Oh yeah, there's another topic. Another topic that I should chat about. We're behind time. I should just stop work and just sit here talking. Fraud, auction fraud. We have it's not a great, it's a terrible story. You know the prints that I showed you on the last show and tell? Those prints from 100 years ago, the set of 12 that had the people from different eras doing stuff. Turned out to be really, 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 really beautifully well-made prints. The show? I had bought them on auction, and in fact, I even linked to the auction page. What did I pay? 20,000 yen or something. 20,800 yen or something, whatever. Wonderful price. What's that? That's like 130 bucks. So for those 10 prints, I got them for like $130 or something. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful bargain. The prints are fabulous. And I want to show you on the next show and tell where we have time to look at prints. I'm going to show you some of those prints again because I've learned more about them in the intervening time. Anyway. The auction for that one, that was this auction. I paid 20,300 yen. You can't read Japanese here, but this is the bid record. And you can see, I had bid actually more. I had bid, I think, I forget, 30,000. I can't remember. I had been willing to pay for that. But at the end of the day, when the auction closed, it closed at 2,300 because just below me, somebody had bid 19,800. This is how auctions work. This is no big deal. And then 3 other people down there had just put in little chibi bids and it hadn't gone anywhere. So I had to pay 20,000 yen for this because of the person below me. I was a little bit curious about one thing here. PJM, the code name for the person who bid, he's only ever finished 2 auctions. I've finished 700, the guy below me has 3,000, whatever. So that seemed a bit funny, somebody who had not participated in auctions before. So what I did was I went to the seller, and it's all open records here. I went to the seller, the previous finished auction, the one that finished a few hours before mine. And that was this one. And look at this. This wasn't for woodblock prints. It was for a book of Chinese history. And somebody overseas, the top bidder is a Bai. So that's a bidding service for people overseas, ended up paying 72,000. Why? because somebody, PJM, jumped in there and pushed it up. If PJM hadn't been there, Bai would have got it for 1,500 yen. I go back, the next previous auction, the same thing. This seller has got his nephew or wife or somebody out there being told to put bids in just below what the top bid is, because they can see it at their end. This is outright fraud, top to bottom fraud. So I ended up paying $2,300, and I should have paid $3,500 if it had been a clear, open, honest auction. Do I report this to Yahoo? I've learned over the years, I report it to Yahoo, they do nothing. I don't even get a response. They're terrified. If they accuse somebody and it turns out not to be a real accusation, maybe it was somebody else bidding, they'll be in trouble. So they do nothing. And it's to their advantage. They're getting a percentage of sales. So the higher the prices go, everything goes, away it goes. So I should have been a bit more careful. Before I clicked my bid in, I should have looked at the guy's auction history. But even then, I wanted the thing. I had been willing to pay $30,000 for it. So from his point of view, hey, you bid that much, you got it, no problem. You got what you wanted. But it doesn't matter. This is still fraud, absolutely fraud. Ueda-san, our ex-friend Ueda-san, did this all the time before I got too upset and put the bullet in that. It's a scam. It's a scam. So poor Mr. PJM, he keeps trying to buy prints but never succeeds. Yahoo, it's a Wild West. Be careful. It's a Wild West. At the end of the day, you end up paying what you had bid. This is fine. I had agreed to pay that much, but it's still a scam nonetheless. When I learned Ueda-san was doing this, I got so pissed off that a friend of mine, and he knew it was me, that a friend of mine would be doing that to me on multiple occasions. I got so pissed off. We threw all of his prints out of our shop, put them all in a box, sent them back to him. We'll never deal with him again. He was doing good business in our shop with his older prints. Of course it could be solved. Yahoo could solve this in 15 minutes. Easily Yahoo could do this. One, they could stop the sellers from seeing the amount of the incoming bids. Of course, that would be one. Second is they could just parse with software easily. That PJM, being the second bidder on one person's auctions, the software could easily parse for this. They could spot this and raise some flags. A human being could check it. Yep, kill the guy. It would be dead easy. You could write software to fix that in 15 frickin' minutes. What the sellers are also allowed to do is to cancel bids. We see it sometimes. The seller will have his friend bid up, bid up, bid up, bid up to the point where he outbids me. I then lose, and then the new person cancels their last bid. So the seller can cancel bids. I myself can't cancel the bid. So the son-in-law who is doing this bidding, whatever, keeps bidding until you hit the target, and then the seller cancels that last bid by the son-in-law, leaving mine standing, and I've been pushed to my absolute max. This time they didn't push me to that. They didn't push me to my total max, but that happens sometimes too. They outbid you, pushing up until they find your top, and then the seller cancels that last bid. And again, Yahoo's system could see this easily. It's not in their interest. So there's no intensive. It's a fee. Of course, it's a percentage fee. The only way that Yahoo could be hurt by all this is if, in general, Yahoo Auctions got such a bad rep that people would not want to participate. But it's a massive, thriving platform. They've got the market. eBay has no place in Japan. Those of you who might be hearing, why are we talking about Yahoo Auctions? Where's eBay? They came and they got beat up and they left. This is, I didn't even know, 10, 12, 15 years ago. Looking good. The work is getting done here. I don't know about the timetable, but the work is getting done. Someone says, why not report them? Like if Dave went down to his local police office here with this information, two things. One is they're just going to say, sorry, not our problem. Talk to the auction website. And the other part is, I can't prove this. Looking at this, this is still circumstantial evidence. There's no proof there that that seller has arranged this. We can all see exactly what's happening, but the evidence, quote unquote, is circumstantial. I can't prove this at all. I can just show what looks like what's happening. I'm sure that's another reason why authorities are not involved here, you know. What I just showed you was not evidence. It was a smoking gun, right? Is that the expression? How are we doing here? There's about 15 sheets left. 15 sheets to moisten here. We will then move into the next room and hang up. There's clearly not going to be a show and tell. I do have prints ready. I've got a very, very interesting couple of show and tell things to show you. They will simply have to wait for another day. Any pool drama? No, 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 no. The bath is open. Been enjoying a bath every morning in there now. There was a sort of a non-drama the other day. It would have been Wednesday, the day after Golden Week. Golden Week, Monday and Tuesday were holidays. Wednesday, I jumped back to the pool, thankfully, after 4 days off. And far from any drama, the exact reverse happened on Wednesday. Did I tell you about this on Thursday stream? I go to the pool on Wednesday, no problem, up the elevator, boom, go in the lobby, beep my card always, sit down on the bench, and like there's nobody there on the bench. And I'm like, is it open today? There's a girl there behind the counter. The door was unlocked. I came up. I sit there on the bench by myself, nobody around. I don't hear any chatting from the ladies' side. This is the first day after a 4-day holiday. It should be busy. What have I misunderstood? What do they know that I don't know? What did I miss? What message did I miss? I sit there on the bench, quietly, waiting, tick, tick, tick. The girl at the counter says, in you go. It's 7 o'clock. I go through all by myself. What have I misunderstood? There's normally like 5, 6, 7 guys with me. We can hear chat from the ladies' side, whatever. I go in there, take my, change my clothes, go through, hit the shower. I go into the pool deck, and I'm the only person in the room. And the pool is, the guy's standing there, the lifeguard's standing there. I look around. I'm still convinced I'm in some alternate reality. I have forgotten something. Everybody else got the message that I didn't get. Whatever. I then start to hear voices. Other people are coming. This is my chance. Get in the water, Dave. Slide carefully into the water, not to make a ripple, and then shoo, off we go. Trying to do my smooth Olympic, not causing any splashes, because I'm the first guy in the pool going down the lane. And then whatever, a minute later, there's people all over the place. They're splashing, whatever. Just as it had happened, a bunch of people were a little bit late. And there we were. So a little bit of a, I think somebody mentioned it, a little bit of a Twilight Zone mood there, just for X seconds. By the time I've done my length and back, the pool is now busy. There's all kinds of people, whatever, you know. So, and I've never been in that situation. The lady who normally swims in my lane wasn't there. I had the lane all to myself, back and forth, back and forth. And I think I did. I thought this very thought as I was standing there. The pool is there. It's still. The water is beautiful. I look around and I remember thinking, this is how Bill Gates enjoys his swimming. You know, like a billionaire with his own private pool. You know? So this is what Bill Gates gets every morning. I have my own river. Well, it's not swimmable, unfortunately. Any update concerning Itches and Washi's next video episode? Where's the band hammer? Where's the band hammer? It's all in the can, waiting for me. As soon as I finish this today, I will go down to the shop to say hello to the people. I should be in the shop on a Monday, but I won't be. I'm going to be back up here, and I'm going to be moistening paper. The paper you saw me do sizing on last week. I have become a printer. I have an extra addition to my job description these days. I am a printer now, due to circumstances beyond my control. I will try and find time for the next video, but absolutely my work schedule has to be based on deadlines. The video doesn't have a deadline. Customers are waiting for this print. I have to prioritize the printing. I don't want to tell you what time I went to bed last night or what time I'll be going to bed tonight. It's really, really difficult these days to try and find time for extra work like YouTube videos. Extra work. Did I miss a sheet? I don't think so. I think I got it. Oh, maybe I didn't. Nanda. Did I miss that one? I might have missed one. I might have missed this. Yeah, thank you. Eggs to somebody there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See, it's all your fault. You asked me about video. This one is done. Some says, do I ever screw up and have to throw them away? Well, no, not really. But remember, this is a factory process. And at every stage, when Murata-san is washing the fiber, pulling out the chitty, X% of it will be a little bit spoiled and won't be able to be used. So there will be a bit of wastage when she's doing that. When she rocks the sheets, flips them over, hundreds of sheets at a time, every now and then something will go wrong and one or two of the sheets will not make it through. The drying boards out in the air, the birds will poop on a sheet or something like this. Every stage of the process, and certainly during the printing, when it's really critical rubbing the pigment on, we do lose something at pretty much every stage. Earlier we saw that, I told you. I sent Chiharu-san 200 sheets of paper. She sent me back 197 prints. So we have, what's the word for the thing I'm trying to describe? It's not just a loss, there's a, not loss, not wastage, there's a percentage, whatever, that we lose. You know, Toyota has the same thing. Not every car that comes out of the back end of their production line, you know. Overall, we have to maintain a good, strong, high percentage. If the loss percentage starts to get too high at any given stage, we're doing something wrong and we got to fix it. But it's inevitable. There's going to be, I forget the word. Shrinkage, margin of error, not collateral damage, no. Just, I guess, not shrinkage. Whatever, we lose something. Spoilage maybe. Spoilage might be it, I'm not sure. So, at every step of the way. There's still another word, I can't remember. There's another word that catches it. Can't remember. Oh yeah, if there's spoiled paper, it all goes into bags. We don't actually throw away any washi at all. either at this stage if I screwed something up, or printers. And remember, we're trimming as well. There will be 4 prints made from this sheet, but there will be trimming done around the edges. Even the trim pieces, they go into a basket here, and everything is kept. We recycle this stuff. There's barely enough left here. We've cut this a little. Just, we're okay. We can do this. There's enough liquid in the brush to do this. And again, if there weren't, I could tip this up a little bit sideways and dip it in. But we have come right to the end of this. The dregs here now, I'll be tossing those. I won't be keeping these because this leftover size has already been in the fridge for a week, and there's no reason that I should try and keep it longer. I don't know when I'll be doing sizing again. Somewhere towards the end of the week, probably off stream. And for that one, I will cook up a brand new fresh batch. So this leftover dregs here, these will now be tossed. We don't try and save every single, cubic centimeter. If we did that too, you'd get some size then that just would keep going round and around and around. So this will be tossed. This will be washed after I finish hanging. Let's do the thing. We have to move. Now, we've struggled with this. I have to unplug one of the cameras, and sometimes it crashes the stream for people. So I've taken advice in hand. The first step, we are going to turn off this camera here. Chum. It's now been removed from this scene. It's no longer connected to our stream here. So I should be able to unplug it without crashing anything. I'm going to keep this view. In fact, we can even just let's pull this up. The other camera that you just saw is now disconnected from this stream. So when I physically unplug it, as I'm about to do, it shouldn't take down the stream. Can we try this? I'm going to unplug that camera, which is disconnected already. 3, 2, 1. Did the stream survive? Camera moving to the next room. I'll be back in a second. The mic, I believe, should still be active. Camera in place. Camera being powered up. Camera scene. Ready? Hi. Let's go back. Computer power not needed. Will run on battery. We have the Ethernet cable with my microphone. Let's move to the next room. Someone says, we're back. It died. What do I have to do? Camera now plugged in, and let's turn it back on. Boom. Here we go. Here we go. Now the paper. Here we go. Let's do this. You know what's happening next, of course? Oh, somebody else used them. They're all tossed together. Now, the paper is fairly narrow, so we don't need the full triple width of our clips. We're just going to stand with 2. We don't need all 3. And something funny, I should have maybe brought it upstairs so that I could show you. If we were downstairs, I could go and grab it. We got some prints in the shop over the weekend. Some prints came in from one of our suppliers, from the Yoshida family. We're restocking all the time. We stock the prints from Yoshida, Toshi Yoshida's prints and his son Tsukasa. And a new batch came in over the weekend. And the ladies in the back room were packing them, getting them ready to put into the shop. And one of them brought over one of the prints and said, "Dave, we've got a problem. This print has a defect. What are we going to do about this?" And she brought the print to show me. And again, I should have it here to show you. And the print was what it was, but at the very bottom of the sheet, there was a place where there were 3 or 4 horizontal lines bitten into the paper. I just laughed at her and I said, that's where whoever did the sizing, that's where he put his clip on the paper. And they didn't use underwear clips. We use, underwear clips, which are smooth inside. And they had used a normal laundry clip with its zigzag pattern. And there it was, visible on the print, which is now down in our shop. So she's saying, do we reject this? And I'm like, no, that's just the way Yoshidas do this. So. So 25 to hang, that's 3. There's 50 sheets here in pairs. So 25 to hang. Someone says, would moisture remove the crimping? Almost no. I mean, not almost certainly no. When you get a piece of paper, moisten it with glue and then put it into a clamped form, which is basically what that was. Let it dry. That's as permanent as anything is going to be on that paper. You could moisten it maybe and hit it with a baron to try and flatten it, but there's no way you're going to get those marks out. It's like we had printed it with an embossing pattern. We print the names in, and it's a similar way. There's no way. It was just on the margin of the print. The print was what it was, and this is a mark on the border of the print. It's okay. It was just worth a smile for us because the staff member who was asking about it, she has seen these streams and seen me do this. And there was an exact example of doing it a different way. So. Do such things exist? I don't know. Someone's saying we should have clips that emboss a pattern into the paper. We could do that. We could have the Mokuhankan Baron mark, clamp it into each piece of paper. I discussed with Marata-san last time I was up there, or one of the previous times I was up there, I discussed with her the idea of having watermarks in our paper. It is possible with the Japanese technique, when they're making paper, to prepare the mesh. There's a mesh screen that they dip and rock the paper, and you can prepare the mesh screen with a small pattern in one corner. And then the finished sheet of paper that comes up out of it has the pattern very faintly internally inside the paper in one corner. The Doi Hanga company used to do this all the time when they were ordering paper from Iwano. They had a character for tsuchi, earth, embedded into the paper. And Watanabe, I believe, also did this at some earlier part of their publishing career. Adachi may also have done this. I don't have a full chapter and verse. I've got some paper downstairs with the Doi watermark inside it. And I discussed this with Murata-san. Should we perhaps do this so that I could commission the paper to have our watermark inside? And we tossed the idea back and forth, but it really isn't practical for a number of reasons. One is that we are buying the paper in, of course, larger sheets. And this particular one sheet of paper is going to end up as 8 woodblock prints. So it makes no point at all, really, to have the overall sheet watermarked when it's no relevance to the actual prints. Only one of those prints would have had the watermark visible. Another problem is, of course, do we want that watermark visible on a woodblock print? The people who designed this for us, Atelier Sento, may not actually be happy about that. Hey, it's their design. Why do they want this stupid watermark design blotting in one corner? And another reason, of course, is that if I have that screen made, then Murata-san would not be able to use the screen for anybody else. And she's short of tools and materials. So no, it's really not an active consideration. I could imagine a special project where we were making large prints which used the entire sheet of paper, which had an image in the middle and the borders were still there. And on one of the borders, there could be this watermark. That would be a really, really, really sensible use case. But for our daily work, where the sheets are being chopped up into small pieces, it just doesn't make any sense. In Japanese, it's called a sukashi. 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 And if you remind me about it one time later, I can grab a sheet of paper from my collection and show you what they look like. This sizing is nice today. It's so nice and smooth and moist. Can you see my hand behind there? I don't know. Paper's beautifully translucent. I hear more footsteps, people downstairs. Of course, it's 9:30. Someone's asking, is the giant baron outside our shop functional? Well, of course it is. I'm not, what do you mean? How could you ask that question? Is our giant baron functional? Its design function is to show where we are and to let people say, there's the Woodblock print shop, and to come in. And it's doing that function very, very, very well. Is that what you meant? Did I ever show you the video? It's about 10 years old. Maybe I showed it, I don't remember. I've got video of when we were preparing the giant baron sign for the first iteration of the shop back in 2014. And we were sewing, you know, we had ordered this huge Baron to be printed out from an industrial printer. They rolled it up and sent it to us. But before we could mount it, we had to put, what do you call it when you're mounting a huge piece of cloth or canvas and you put those little round metal things inside so that you can tie it and hold it up? I forget what they're called in English. Grommets. Grommets. We were sewing the edge of the Baron and then putting grommets in. And we had some good fun. And we took a video that day, me and Ayumi-san. I don't have it handy now on this computer, but yeah, remind me one day to show you the game. Maybe I showed it years ago, I don't know. I didn't get, I told you at the beginning of the stream I had this list of stuff I was supposed to talk to you about, you know. Some of the cool ones I didn't actually get to today. There's one, I've got to throw it out to you. I don't have any time to sit here and chat about this, but I'm going to put a link to a website. It's a link to Rocket News, which is a website here in Japan about news and stuff. And this is a link to a story about Tom Cruise. And you're going to think like, okay, what's like, why, and okay, what's going on? But if you see that story, it's about Tom Cruise. He was here over the weekend in Tokyo, you know, for the movie. I guess they're opening that thing worldwide. They're opening it in Tokyo. You know, the big new, Mission Impossible. What is it called? I forget. Final Reckoning. They're opening it in Tokyo. And they had the grand opening thing yesterday. Tom Cruise was there, and the governor of Tokyo was there, and all these kinds of famous people were there. And up onto the stage at one point, I hadn't known this. I heard about this after it all finished. Tom Cruise is there. Congratulations, movie's finished. Governor of Tokyo, welcome to Japan, blah, blah, blah. Here's his translator voice dubbing. All these famous people that made the movie. And then now, next, up on the stage, we're going to have... And they brought up a dude with a woodblock print. And they have made, Paramount Pictures is involved here. I guess the print has Paramount Pictures logo and licensing crap all over it. And somebody has asked them to make a woodblock print of Tom Cruise hanging off a stunt plane. And there it is. Someone says, cool. I think they could have done a better job at actually like creating a nice image. They just simply took the movie poster and made it into a pseudo woodblock print. And I'm not sure actually if this is AI or if they've actually done this. You know, the last few weeks we've had this deal about AI can Ghiblify you or whatever. AI can make you into an action hero. There's these booms that have gone around the internet the last couple of weeks. And I don't really know. I just clicked the link there, but whether they have actually chopped and printed a woodblock print, or maybe they just told ChatGPT, take the movie poster and make it look like a woodblock print. I don't know. No, they wouldn't have come to Mokuhankan. We're invisible, people like that. And I probably wouldn't have said yes anyway. Remember, the game character prints and stuff we make, we're not licensed. We're pirates. We have lots of Woodblock prints here based on pop culture, but none of them have the licensing information. We're pirates. If they had come to me, I don't know. I don't know if I would have cooperated or not. I'm not sure. We're kind of busy. It might have been fun to have made that print and then go up on stage with the governor and shake hands with Tom Cruise, and then people could have said, "Hey, who's that guy standing next to Dave?" Okay, we're almost done. I think we're going to hang 2 more pairs here, and then we are done. I'm going to get downstairs, get together with the staff for the morning's meetings and stuff, and then I'm going to head into the next room and start getting my paper ready for my batch of the Space Amma print. I just showed you 197 copies of it. That's not enough. We need nearly 400, and I'm now on the firing line for producing a bunch more of them. So the next streams, no BSing around now. The next batch of streams are going to be printing streams. You're going to see a lot of that Space Amma, whether you like her or not. I'm late. Not as late as I was the other day, nee. Okay, gang, thank you very much. I'm out of here now. 9:38. I'll be here 3 more days. I'll be upstairs. The next streams will be, as we said, in the next room here now. I'll be printing. Some of the printing will be different. I've got to do the share certificate printing. That's also waiting for me. And I've got to prepare the print the Spirit of the Forest. I've got to do the test printing on that one. Anyway. Okay, thanks very much. I've had good fun today. Didn't get halfway through my list of stuff to chat about. Doesn't matter. There's another time and another day. I feel better. I was a bit down this morning. Sorry about that. If the stream took a bit time to get going, but I'm okay now. We're up and running. See you on Thursday morning. Thanks very much for hanging out. 3, 2, 1. Down she goes.